Hello. So, I don't know why it auto sends that when I make this chat subscriber mode only, but it does. So, sorry about that. The chat is subscriber mode only. It just sort of auto sends that every time. Um, so anyway, anyway, um, yeah. So, you know, it's pretty crazy. Yesterday, I had to shovel a whole ton of snow. And later on in the day, it snowed again. So I had to shovel some more snow again today. So, I, I had a lot of snow to shovel recently. Not the ice discussion we were gonna actually have, but I just I figured I would tell you guys about my snow shoveling. Uh, no, obviously not. Obviously not the ice that I am referring to. Clearly not. Um, so let's talk a little bit about it. We'll have a little discussion about a little bit of a discussion about ice here. So oh, and as far as subscriber mode only is concerned, the reason we're doing that is because we're getting doxxed and like stalked and stuff like that, and it's sort of a little unfair to do that and to say that somebody has a fair. You know what I mean? Like, so like I obviously can't that, and that's why, because somebody's not playing fair. So anyway, I just want to put that out there and let you guys know that that's why that's been happening. Is that's going on the platform, and they're sort of not very good at doing anything about it. So um, I have to do what I have to do with that to try to make sure that that's not happening. So anyway, as far as the ice situation concerned, let's talk about that a little bit, and specifically, obviously. Obviously, the situation in Minneapolis and what we know happened. So look, we can sit here and we can pretend, or we can actually look and watch the video and clearly see officers surrounding this vehicle for, I mean, I don't know what reason. It didn't seem like to be a reason, but just surrounding this vehicle. The officer that eventually shot her in the face, by the way, 3 times, not once. Bang, bang, bang. I saw it with my own eyes. As his arms were in the vehicle trying to stop her from driving or doing whatever she was doing, to simply turn around and drive away. And he was, of course, unsuccessful at veering, at overpowering her, I guess, and he felt super charged by the fact that he couldn't overpower this female, so he shot her in the face several times. And then you saw him go like this, which of course is the universal symbol for wheels out. Means get the hell out of here. Me immediately. That's what I saw. I don't know what y'all are seeing, but that's what I saw. And now, obviously, we can sit here and we can find one-off instances where you're recording a few seconds of a clip that looks like somebody's attacking ICE. Sure. Did they show the rest of the clip where ICE boxed the car in and prevented the person from going to a brain surgery clinic. A disabled person. Broke her windows, yanked her out of her car. After giving her conflicting orders, they just have all these cops standing there, do this, do that, do this, do that. She has no idea what she's supposed to do. They just break her window and yank her out of the car. After blocking the road illegally. Fascinating stuff, isn't it? And you wonder why people are protesting. Like is it actually a wonder why people are protesting? Why would it be that? Why would that be? Why would you be wondering about that? I mean, wholly aside from the fact that, again, remember that we have legal means of removing illegals and stuff like that. Very specific, one-off circumstances. And even these officers, some of them are claiming that that's what this is. but then we see live footage of reporters there where the peaceful protesters are, and every so often all they do is just gas them, grab somebody, and then run away. I've seen it numerous times where it's just peaceful protesters standing there, and they're trying to they're trying to hit the equipment and stuff like that from the reporters. Like I've seen that. I've seen it very obviously aim at the reporter so that they have to turn away really quick, all while they charge at them. And the whole point is so that to get them to look away for the second that they would surround the person and you can't see what's going on. So they can just grab somebody and say, oh, well, that person didn't follow instructions. When you ran across the street and tear gassed people? What the fuck? What happened to, sir, you are under arrest. Turn around, place your hands behind your head. What the fuck? Innocent until proven guilty, I thought. Again, we're talking about deporting people that are supposedly illegal. So if you're not even letting them present their case yet, you're not verifying ID or credentials, you're just grabbing people. You didn't go through any process. You just ran over and started doing stuff. It's not how police work is done. And quite frankly, it's disrespectful and it's shameful to real police work. So, the ICE situation. I mean, it's concentration camps. What do you think this is? So let's talk a little bit about, let's get to the logic a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about the guy doing all this. That's convincing you this shit. So, A, first of all, again, it is illegal. I don't care what the fuck anybody says. Oh, if they're here by legal, okay, they are. That's the point. Everybody's giving that argument, trying to give that argument from the other side, but they are. Period. And then, so again, you have no argument after that. You just sit there and you don't say anything, or you just act stupid, and you have nothing. You become angry, or something, because you've lost the argument. So, let's talk a little bit about the guy doing this. This guy, he specifically said he wasn't going to start any more wars. Remember that one? Remember when he was going to bring the Constitution back? First of all, it didn't go anywhere. The Constitution, the Bill of Rights, still exists. It didn't go anywhere. But what's happening now, again, you aren't allowed to be stopped. They can't block you. They can't stand in front of your car in traffic. They need probable cause. They can't do that. They are impeding on your rights. Especially all the citizens that are being detained. The actual citizens. Especially them. So, he wants to bring the Constitution back, yet he's doing things with ICE that he shouldn't be doing. Not using them in a way that he promised to, but in an illegal, destructive way against civilians. People that are just simply recording or otherwise maybe having been protested at the spot and been pictured protesting or something like that, and they're following those people around. People in Minneapolis. That sort of saw what happened. So, let's talk a little bit about the guy doing this. Because remember, this is what he promised not to happen. He promised not to use it on civilians. He promised, oh, you know, it's to make it safe. It's to make it safe, right? Safe. Yeah. Right. That's what it was for, remember? To make the streets safer. Except they shot a woman in the face. And remember, if you watch that video, you'll very clearly see an angry, upset, pissed off asshole douchebag. They could have simply let go of the car. He was just holding on to the inside of the vehicle. He has arms inside her fucking window as she's trying to drive away. So she didn't try to run him over. She was trying to drive away. You don't shoot somebody in the face that's trying to... Yeah, alright, she's eluding maybe. Whatever. I guess. If that was probable cause in the first place. I don't think it was. And he has his arms inside the car. And because she just kept driving, he didn't simply let go and take defeat. No, he shot her in the face 3 times. He wanted to be sure. Does it sound like safety? Protecting civilians? Sure doesn't to me. This is the same guy that gives you empty promises every time. The wall doesn't get built. Again, the wall is a terrible idea logistically anyway. He sold it to you. He sold it to you, but he sold you a terrible idea. You have to accept that. It's an awful idea. And he's trying to sell you on this idea because it sounds really good for him for this sort of racist, sort of keep him out agenda. It's always been about that. It's always, again, the Gulf of America instead of the Gulf of Mexico. Again, like, just creating this tension. There was never, again, the border crisis wasn't really a crisis until he said there's a border crisis and stuff like that. And then then there was. And it was a while back, but I mean, like, we've always done things about, you know, border protection and patrolled the border and done things about that. So just, it's riling people up. It's always about this. It's baiting. You know, he wants you to respond. He wants you to react. He wants one side to do what they're doing, where they're going and they're going with their perspectives and their agendas and they're filming stuff. And they're using clips and uploading all very small clips of stuff. So you see it a certain way. And then the reporters that are showing the whole thing, they're just there, just standing there. They're getting tear gas. They're getting charged. They're getting, you know, like, things are happening to them. No, what I see is I see a bunch of police and federal agents and anybody that's MAGA, really. They're all people of all jobs, cops, federal agents, people at companies. And when they know that you are not, because of how strongly they feel about this dictatorship, like, government, wanting that, actually not thinking that through, and being that enemy, being that very enemy of the state that we've always talked about, where that's exactly who that is. Somebody that is, their existence is not to try to make things better and work with people, but again to law and order. Obey because it's authoritarian, it's dictator. It's, again, the moment that you think that you're doing right and you're on the other side of that and you've always done right by this person and stuff like that, the moment that they need you as a scapegoat, they'll use it. And they'll take that advantage. They will use you the same way as they used everybody else, because they don't see citizens as citizens and see you as having a voice or an opinion in the matter. They decide. We have these examples throughout culture and stuff like that. You know, we have Star Wars, we have Star Trek, we have plenty of examples of exactly what I'm talking about here, where again, you know, you can take a look at exactly what they did and see the outcome in any society. In any society, you know, like, the whole point is, even in a galaxy far, far away, when they have the Force and all that ability to just do those cool things, and still the point is, you're supposed to remember that, what is it all for? If all you're doing is law and order, obey, what is it all for? The whole point is, you're supposed to rationalize in the end of that. Even Vader himself had to self-reflect. The moment his own son, the moment Luke comes and has that moment with him, it's obviously different than he expected, obviously. And obviously he feels that. And obviously it changes things for him. And so the whole point is that you're supposed to rationalize that those instincts took over at that point. He had already made the decision to betray the Emperor. He's just thinking about how he's going to do it. The whole point is, you're supposed to rationalize the moment that the guy in charge starts going after your people. What the fuck is the point? The moment that the Emperor would actually have you... Well, what's the point? So what? Then how do we correct it? It's just by selection? Doesn't make any sense. So rationalizing, that's a problem. It's not fair. I get life's already not fair, so why would you make it that way? You're gonna do that through selection and not give people chances? That's really messed up. Human nature is to fail. Well, we're capable of more than we even understand at any given time. So of course we're gonna fail at some things. We can't use it all. That's the part that you have to accept, that other side cannot. They look at failure as a weakness instead of a strength. Like a why did we fall off the horse sort of thing. Um, and I would ask you to consider the person doing all of this. That person that will never admit that they're wrong, that will never admit they've fallen off the horse, that will never self-reflect, the thing we all must do. That one person that will never do it. And that guy's in charge of everything. That guy. He's illegally using the ice. In fairly expensive ways, too. Getting them attacked, pinning citizens against them, pitting them against citizens. He's causing this. We didn't feel this way. No, for the most part, you know, the idea is that, yeah, that's the point. They're just given orders to do these things. So the whole point is, why is there this natural discourse? Why do they feel so obligated to attack peaceful protesters? Why is that guy so triggered? And yeah, it's a problem. But you still need to ask that question. Yeah. He still needs to be held accountable. For sure. Doesn't excuse it, but who was doing all of that? Who was pitting them against each other? You know who. It's the same guy that, again, I just went through several things where he'll never admit he's wrong about this or that. Falls off the horse, can't admit to it. Oh, that's... But then, again, everything's okay and he's always right, too. The economy's not bad. Inflation doesn't exist. He's right. Don't listen to any of that. He's right. All this stuff that they're saying where it's peaceful protesting and it's actually the other way around, you know. They were causing problems and that somehow justified what that terrible person did to that woman. No. No. I don't buy it. At a certain point, you gotta call it the BS detector. You gotta get with the program and just stop allowing your judgment on a single one person affect all these decisions that you're making about life. Now, the sooner we all get behind the fact that you need to say, screw it, I'm not listening to that guy anymore. I want to question why we're doing this. We're all going to get to the bottom of what really is going on, okay? But it's going to take everybody to do it. It's going to take everybody. Or you're always going to have that clash. If you have to like if you have such a narcissistic problem where like you need people, you're the president of the United States, people aren't just going to believe what you say enough as it is and accept what you say as the truth. but you feel so obligated. You need to embroider clothing and wear it in the Oval Office that states that you're right about everything. I feel like I don't need to explain how childish that is. I feel like I don't need to explain that. Yeah, it's the President of the United States. Why the hell do we need him to tell us that he was right about everything? So much so that he needs to embroider a red hat that says it. I don't... again... I don't get why you would need to do that, except if you're not, and you're actually sort of like... kind of he's infatuated with wanting to be right. He just can't take it, you know. Like it's clearly what it is. And he'd be so much more successful president if he just did things that would make everybody happy, admit he's wrong sometimes, and try to fix the things. Sort of like George W. did. Where, you know, like, I mean, like, he made some mistakes, but then arguably tried to he had to backpedal. He did. And he did, too. He owned it. No, he did. He owned it. It's a shame. What a shame. What a difference. He's the only president that none of them get along with. None of them. None of them like this guy. They can't stand this guy. They can all get along. Now the Bushes, the Republicans, even Reagan when he was alive, they all got along. Carter. As far as I know, Ford, like, none of them had any huge problems with each other. This guy comes along. Nobody, just nobody can stand this guy. Nobody can get along with him. Because remember, our service members are suckers and losers. And let me tell you something, if there's one thing that a president will not want to hear, it's that their military and service veterans are suckers and losers. God, especially when you said it and you treated Biden the way you did. No, I'll be honest with you. I think Biden is more ethically sound than almost any... If you would put all of the people all together in the government right now, all of them, all of their ethics, put them all together, I still think you'd have trouble. Because remember, Obama, he's not doing anything. I think you'd still have trouble equaling the ethical denominator of what Biden brought to the table. You have no... It's so annoying. You have no comprehension, do you? It's actually kind of amazing because again, like, they tried to say stuff about like other people and his family and stuff. That like that's when you have to recognize there's nothing. And this poor guy, he gives like the last bit of his life to serve the country. He probably, again, realistically didn't really want to do it. Guy is old. But he did it in service of the country. And again, more ethically sound than probably, again, if you tried to put everybody in the government right now together, I'll bet you'd have a hard time equaling. Again, you would not equal. Because remember, Obama, Barack, he's not doing anything anymore. So again, there's really no one. I mean, jeez. And Harris, you're going to be lucky to keep her. She wants to stick around. You'd have a real hard time. You have a real hard time. Buttigieg, I like him, but he's got a bit to prove. He's got a bit to prove. I like Bernie though. But seriously, Biden was ethically, and nobody gave him that. They really, truthfully did. It's crazy. And you look it up, and you, like, I wonder how many people just looked up memes and never actually looked anything up about him. So anyway, he funded police, by the way. It's truly amazing how people can get it so backwards. Anyway, it's gonna take understanding, like again, understanding that everybody has to get behind the fact that this guy's gotta go. He's gotta go. No third time, no unconstitutional BS. He's already been getting away with some very unconstitutional things. Do not allow him to infringe upon the Constitution anymore by becoming a president a third time, by even being a contender. No ifs, ands, or buts. Nothing. No. Nada. Everybody concedes. Everybody. And I mean, come on, like, this guy, the current guy, he's the one that's like, him and Biden are around the same age, and everybody's just picking on Biden's age. They're like, the current one, he's gonna be the oldest president to leave office, I think, and when he leaves office, and he's gonna be older than Biden when he leaves office. I mean, like, this is insane. And people were attacking Biden's age. Like, the embarrassment that's there right now paints his face orange and falls asleep. And the guy that he has running his, the guy that's in charge of the health and stuff like that, it sounds like this. He can't understand anything the guy says. He sounds like this. That's the guy that you have in charge of the health in this country. Why? Because he's a Kennedy? Yeah. Yup. Yep. Yep. A real JFK, he'd be rolling over, oh man, he'd be so irritated. That's like so opposite of everything he stood for. Like, not just because. I mean, jeez. Earn your keep. What's that guy done? He tried to sell his campaign to Donald when he knew he wasn't a contender. He knew he was a contender. He tried to sell his campaign and like, you know, like the voters that he had built to Donald. No FBI investigation there. And this guy, like again, this guy. there's no use in continuing that. You can see it. You can't even talk. So, and you know, honestly, what has the administration done except try to make it look like they're doing anything? What have they actually done except try to make it look like they're doing anything? And again, everything is always opposite with this guy. It's always so like. What's you know, like the whole ICE thing and stuff like that. You think this is for deportation and stuff like that? No, like it really, it's to sit here and find certain civilians that he doesn't like, that he doesn't want voting against him. Like it's continual mass election fraud, like where he's just rigging his election the same way Putin does. It's literally the same stuff. So again, this is as per ex-CIA. This isn't even just me. This is as per ex-CIA. The government invests billions a year in spying on civilians. I was right about that. He didn't need to say it. I was right about it. And you really think that that guy that looks like a fucking clown every day, paints his face orange every day, and is so triggered by a joke that Kimmel says, that he tries to have the guy taken off the air, and you think this guy isn't going to misuse government funding and, let's say, oh, I don't know, lose $1 trillion or something like that to spy on civilians and rig the election? That's exactly what I'll do. So, this is why I know that you want the independent vote, but they don't have enough seats. I know that you want to vote third party, but they don't have enough seats. If they had more seats, if they had more control, it's been a two-party system for a while that's maintained the majority in the government. So again, knowing this and knowing that these percentages have never changed, we've dealt with this plenty of times before, until you would institute actual real legislative changes, you're not going to see a change in that. Where you have to change, again, I personally think it's the Electoral College, where rich can buy into it more so than other people, for sure. And so you until something is dealt with that again, where again that's where you can, again, doesn't matter, the popular vote doesn't matter, somebody can just win electoral votes. Yeah, that's where you again get the win that Donald got over Hillary, where she won 3 million more votes than him, but he still won the election. He didn't win. The Electoral College just picked him. So the electoral win, again, the whole point is that if you have more states with more electoral votes, yeah, you could still, the person, Hillary, could still win more votes popular, but he got more states with more electoral. So, like, it's just that simple, and it's a rig. It's been like that forever. So, again, please accept this. Please stop thinking that you're going to change things and this time it's going to be different, this time it's really going to be different. No, they're doubling down. It'll be worse. You have to understand that every time we look at those percentages, it is such a small margin. Single digits, barely sometimes. Even with Gary Johnson, you had like some that were like 9, maybe 10, sometimes I think percent. Very rarely did they get to double digits. They were like single digit percentages and stuff. And when you apply it to the other side, to the person you would have voted for, they would have had it. So please, if you know that there's a way better choice on the Democratic side than the Republican side, and again, you think about that third party vote. I know it's tough. I know you want to vote that way and you want to double down on it. But it has nothing to do with your numbers. It has to do with your number of seats and your representation in government. You don't have it. And Bernie knew that too. That's why he always ran Democratic. Well, I'm sorry, that's why he did run Democrat when he ran for president that time that he did. And he said he wasn't going to do it anymore. And again, the whole point is he's agreed kind of with a lot of what the Democrats have said. So again, that's where you can trust that camaraderie back and forth, where that's actually sort of been regular between independents and Democrats for the most part. With Republicans, hell no. Nobody wants to work with them. Because they don't want to work with anybody. So, what you have to realize, though, is Republicans are the really rich old guys. That's what you gotta realize. They don't know anything about how anything works anymore. And they're terrible for representing you in government. But they are rich. Trump forces out every younger, successful Republican because you can't manipulate them. Talked about this before. He has ruined Republicans' careers before. I would like to see a system that continues the way it had when it worked. Not when this guy that's here now came in, didn't know what he was doing, couldn't admit that he was wrong about this, wrong about that, wrong about this, wrong about that. Oh, I never said that, I never said this, I never said that. And just every time, doubling down, digging a deeper hole, digging a deeper hole. So here we are. We have a president that says no new wars and seemingly goes in and kidnaps Venezuela's leader, starting a war. Is threatening to go to war with Canada, Denmark, oh, right, and then also got rid of that awesome thing Obama had in place, the Iran nuclear deal, that made sure that Iran couldn't make weapons. Oh, that's right, and he got rid of that. And now Iran has been just attacking us non-stop. Because Donald Trump's a retard. Remember that? Remember when he said that the Iran nuclear deal was the worst deal? And he got rid of it? Remember that? And then after getting rid of it, now he loves it so much. Now he's starting to understand why Obama did that. Obama's like, fuck these guys, they're not allowed to make weapons. And Trump's like, hold my drink. Yes, they can. Do you know that Epstein was apparently privy to certain information that he shouldn't have been? And that's apparently the real reason. Do you know that? Nothing to do with... Yeah. Fascinating stuff, isn't it? Fascinating stuff. It really is amazing how one will be transparent, aka Obama. You'll be able to look up everything they did and try to take credit for it as your own, you know, because you're a jackass. But meanwhile, anybody tries to look up anything you do, you stupid orange douchebag, they have a real hard time figuring it out because you just fucking lie about everything. You try to look something up, it's not what it seems. You look up what Obama, you just fucking find that shit. Or anybody else for that matter. But the current guy, nope. Even Gemini is confused about whether or not he's president of the United States. I have no clue. Yeah, Gemini. They have no fucking clue. So, again, the majority of what I'm seeing and what I'm seeing reported from these situations, we're not talking about even like a small amount of one-off instances where they're doing this. We're talking about, you know, like massive quantities of people being grabbed in areas, certain areas. And then even other bystanders, like citizens, that are just recording. Because they're allowed. They're allowed to do that. That's what we're seeing. We're not... Again, it's not... Oh, everybody just sort of goes about themselves and the police calmly tell this person to get out of the car and they have to wait because the person's being a jerk, and they very, very calmly eventually get him out of the car using intelligent police coercion tactics. No, they give the person like a few seconds to respond, break the window, start dragging them out of the car, tase them, beat them up. Oh, and then anybody else that's recording in the area, doesn't matter who they are, same thing. Okay, can I ask you a question? If this was happening under Obama's administration, if the federal authorities under Obama's administration were doing this to people, specifically MAGA, what do you think Donald Orange douchebag piece of trash Trump would say? What do you think he would say? Yeah. You know, flat out. And those federal agents, the same thing. If this was their neighbor, their friend, their colleague, specifically their colleague. Oh, okay. He's a cop. Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty messed up, because that's where some of them are hiding. Yeah, because I already showed you guys recently about how we had a fake cop discovered recently, very recently actually. Yeah, so, if he's a cop, that's fine. Meanwhile, that's exactly the problem. They're not stopping a real crime. Just like when the assholes around me are swerving around all over the place, illegally, like, you know, recklessly driving and stuff like that, trying to get you to drive faster. You know, they come up behind you in their big ass trucks, they swerve around, try to get you to drive faster, all that shit. Just like when I'm reporting all that, as I'm reporting it, it just gets worse and escalates and doesn't get any better. Well, freedom of speech is in absolutely no way obstruction of anything. I will repeat that. Freedom of speech is not in any way an obstruction of anything. I will agree that in legal proceedings, if somebody is disrupting an actual fair trial, that's understandably different. Aside from that, freedom of speech, your right to speak and do so however you want, is not an obstruction to anyone. It's not. Is it annoying? Yes. If you're a business and it's disrupting your business and the customers don't like it, you could classify that as disorderly conduct because the person's being annoying and you maybe have instructed them to leave, yada yada yada, you get the picture. Totally different. But again, if you're in a public space, in a public area, especially then, and especially if the authorities are actually the ones causing the crime, committing murders, kidnapping people, showing up, destroying property, things like that. I heard of an instance where apparently the cop, I use that term loosely, the federal agent, the federal officer, ripped somebody out of their car and didn't put the car in park. The car just rolled down a hill into whatever, I don't know. What? Oh, so again, that irresponsible. Okay. So again, similar to just, not backing away from a vehicle and choosing to shoot somebody in the face 3 times. Because it's the same thing. They took somebody out of that car. If that car hit and killed somebody after they took somebody out, it's those agents' fault. Absolutely. They took the driver out of that car. They are responsible for taking care of that vehicle and making sure it stops responsibly. They can't just have it just, it's just the same way police must stop a high-speed chase responsibly and can't just pit a car going at high speeds, because of what it would do. That's why they use the strip on the road and stuff like that. That's why. This is the whole point. Duh. So, again, when we know this, again, you can look at many ridiculous clips as you want, where you have streamers just one-off putting clips together and putting their own narrative over something and stuff like that, cleaning up the streets or whatever, and it's just citizens being but again, the whole point is that there's also then the truth to that too, where again, you can be a retard and look at it like a retard would. Or you can look at it like somebody with some brains and see it for what's actually happening. You know, actually figure something out for once. Instead of going, duh. Duh. I guess the guy that paints his face orange and never tells us the truth is telling us the truth, totally. Duh. So that's how I feel about the ICE situation. And again, the guy I've seen it all too many times. He looked exactly like the terrorist MAGA people that I see. That would shoot somebody and not give a shit. Probably wanted to. Like, that's the point. He's probably talking about doing it. And apparently they joked about it. Apparently some of the people that were detained and stuff and brought in the facility said that, yeah, they joked about murdering this lady. They were joking about it. Wow. And this is coming from the mouth of somebody in the military. So there's a right and a wrong way to look at things, and again, you can sit here all day and feel all upset about me using the F word and being all triggered about how I say things. I don't care. I have a right to say it just as anybody else does. You know what you don't have a right to do? You don't have a right to retaliate. You have a right to say whatever you want, but you don't have a right to act and retaliate. And that's what every fucking cop does. Every last one of them. They retaliate, just like a scammer does. They are one and the same. They scam people for a living, they do. Because remember, I'm the guy that's reminding you, again, most these days, unfortunately, I'm not talking about good ones, I'm just saying it seems like most. Because remember, the whole point is, they have probable cause to pull you over. They know why you're pulling you over, right? And if they had probable cause, why are they spending time looking around your car first? Why are they looking in the back seat? Why are they doing that? If they knew why you pulled you over, why are they looking for extra shit? Do they have probable cause to do that? Not really. They have probable cause to stand there, and if they reasonably then believe your car to be in not good repair, conduct an investigation of the car or smell drugs or yada yada yada. No, they just start preemptively doing it. They will walk up and literally just start looking in your fucking car and looking around it. Completely illegal. Breach of what they're supposed to do. Again, they should walk up and make contact with you. For their own safety, for Christ's sake. How do they know if somebody's not laying in the back seat or something like that waiting for them to do that? What an idiot. What an imbecile. I always think about. I always feel like cops that look for that are just the same as the criminals that look for it. Where it's like, it's not like there's like something going on or something like that. It's like no, you just do this, and like that's their point. Like they just like want to incriminate people. Like they're criminals masquerading as cops, and that's what this guy did. He went around identifying the ones that were sort of like that and recruiting them. I know, and that's so funny to the person watching. It's so funny that it's true that they would hit that button. Fascinating stuff, isn't it? Almost like, similar behavior to that we were just talking about. Yeah, like the person that would think it's funny to harm people, I guess. Like, I mean, obviously, I don't need to say that, but no. Quite frankly, I think that's the case. I think that cops want to harm people, and I think genuinely have a problem and a mental incapacity. I think most of them do. I think most of them have a mental incapacity, are quite frankly stupid, want to harm people, should not be trusted with a gun, shouldn't be trusted with any of that stuff, and seek to harm people. I truly believe that, and I think that it's a good number of them. This didn't used to be the case before the current president, but it is now for sure. I mean, there is definitely, a MAGA agenda, a terrorist Nazi movement for sure. Yeah, absolutely. It is absolutely fascism. So, I mean, that's why, like sometimes people that might be removed from it, it seems so out of left field. All right, so like, let me give you an example. Um, you know how we're reacting to stuff and we're watching stuff and somebody's sitting here trying to get the views taken down and get like evidence removed of it and stuff like that. I truthfully believe that some politicians and some police organizations and stuff like that sometimes are not aware of what goes on and what's happening, and I think that sometimes they are successfully removing all footage. And so like, well, I don't know, like let's say you're a channel that specifically gets a bunch of bots asking you, how did you get that footage? How did you get that footage? How did you get that footage? So again, I think the point is that obviously they're following that around and they're trying to get it taken down and they're trying to get it removed. Obviously, the point is they don't want people sitting here looking at the real footage, and I think truthfully sometimes their higher up authorities don't see it. And I'll give you one example of when it just happened. So I'll give you one example. It's literally right on YouTube. So the Minneapolis chief of police seems like actually a pretty good guy. Seems pretty ethically sound, trustworthy individual. But again, these are federal officers that again are doing these things. They don't really want them there. And so I guess what happened was the example I gave you guys where ICE surrounded this lady's car where she was trying to go to some health center, I guess, for something, and she's disabled, and they're giving her conflicting. They literally blockaded her in the street by surrounding her, and impeded her from driving, and then ripped her out of her car after breaking her window and cuffed her, and again, just like a disabled person. And the whole point was that obviously none of it's probable cause, none of it was done legally. It's just assault, battery, destruction of property, like all kinds of stuff. And I guess 60 Minutes was doing an interview with this guy, and they had showed him this footage. And what was really disturbing to me was that this chief of police hadn't seen this footage prior to 60 Minutes showing it to him. That was what was very disturbing to me. And it was actually kind of obvious he hadn't, because his very honest reaction was like, this is the first time he's seen it. Like, and so again, federal agents doing beyond what the law says, that's the point. Like, this chief of police was very upset, like basically condemning this, saying that if his officers did this, they pretty much wouldn't be officers anymore. No, absolutely not. And then meanwhile, the feds, they're just like, yeah, it's totally fine. Now again, my message to you is, again, I've already said, don't throw the snowballs. I've seen that shit. Don't throw the snowballs. Because again, snow is just snow. I understand that. But there could be chunks of ice in there. And if a chunk of ice does damage, they can get you there. Alright? So just don't do it. Alright? It's an act of aggression. They can use... Just don't do it. Okay? Don't throw the snowballs. I've seen it. Don't do that. You can yell. You can shout. From a distance. Don't get into somebody's personal arm space and shout. That is a defining parameter for you. And legally that will back you up. Do not get within somebody's arm space and shout at them. If you're within their arm space, I would agree. I would agree with them that they can defend themselves, and they might see this as an aggressive act of aggression. However, if you are outside their arm space and you are clearly not violating that, you're leaning forward, and they must lunge at you to tackle you to the ground or grab you around your head to drag you down into a headlock, you are very clearly not the aggressor, okay? Let me just state that too. So there's both sides to that. But yes, you should not be trying to get all in their faces and stopping them from, don't do that. Record what they're doing. Don't get within arm's reach. Get as close as you can. If another officer, another federal agent comes around and tries to shove you back, you are to record him and you are to stand your ground and say, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Do not touch me. Don't touch me. If you touch me, it's assault. Do not touch me. I will sue you. Don't fucking touch me. Do not touch me. If you touch me, it's assault. I'm recording you. Do not touch me. And if he forces you backwards, that's assault. It is. You were standing there recording, and then he just decided this is now a police perimeter. No, if somebody's being detained or arrested, it's not a police perimeter. They're just arresting somebody. You can record that. sorry, you can. There's no sudden, immediate, goddamn police perimeter that happens because they're arresting somebody. There's no crime scene there. No, the only crime being committed are the federal agents that need to be recorded. That's the crime scene. So, no, you need to stand your ground and not let them push you back. If they shove you, again, they are recorded shoving you. Let them shove you, record it. Get the evidence, the documentation, if you're bleeding, if you're whatever, record it. It's on tape. Especially if they destroy property, if they harm you in any way. Start adding it up. Yeah. Specifically, that media network that has some reporters out there, if any of them have to seek medical attention because of the chemical agents that they're using that they shouldn't be shooting at, just random people, definitely start keeping track of all of that and making sure that you're keeping track of that just for the sake of later down the road when you want to seek legal action against those federal agents for assaulting you, because I'm sure you're probably going to. So I would highly recommend just documenting all that stuff and continuing to track your medical expenses for having to just simply stand somewhere and record it in public. Because again, you can just stand somewhere in public and record. You shouldn't have to worry about federal agents randomly tear gassing you and charging at you and stuff like that. So just throwing that out there. But it really is. It really is a shame that people couldn't have realized what we had, like, with Biden sooner. But it sure would be nice to go back to that, wouldn't it? Sure would be nice to go back to that, wouldn't it? It would. It really would. Yeah, it really would. We wouldn't be randomly declaring war on all these countries that are our friends. Oh, Canada, like, hates us now. Our closest, oldest friend, really. And they hate us now. Why are you gonna sit here and piss off Denmark trying to take over Greenland? Alright. Because Donald dickhead piece of trash clown Trump backed out of NATO, and now all the other European countries took our military, our military bases that were there, and they have them now. Because Donald asshole piece of shit clown fucking dickhead Trump, Mr. I know everything and I was right about everything, that fucking piece of shit that backed out of NATO gave them all of those strategic fucking bases. Just overnight. Snap of a finger. Oh, so now he's gonna just try to take Greenland. Oh, okay. Yeah. We deserve that after that. Tariff this, tariff that. By the way, it's not Gulf of Mexico anymore. It's Gulf of America somehow. unbelievable. It really is. I mean, he really is the worst president in history. He really is. He really is the worst president in history. I mean, that's it. It's that simple. Before this, It was Now, yeah. Yup. Oh, yeah. What a dickhead. I mean, he kind of looks like that now too. He does. He's like super old, right? He's always like, anytime we see him in the media, he's like falling asleep. Looks like he's stroking. Now remember, I wouldn't normally do that, but that asshole, he personally attacked Biden any chance he could. And Biden is just like such a nice person. Like, it doesn't matter, like, you actually have a nice person as president. And he went from that to this. I mean, somebody that, if they're president, could pray for something for the country and might actually see a result. This guy? No. You think he's praying about anything and it works? No. No, that's why we're getting shit on. He prays about shit and the man upstairs goes, no. No. In fact, because you did that, opposite. Because that's how things work. That's how the planet works. You shit on the planet planet shits back. This guy took a literal dump on his people. He did. He literally put that video on the internet for y'all to see of those planes taking a literal dump on, wasn't it supposed to be New York? I mean, come on. I mean, it's supposed to be, like, U.S. citizens in general, but that's the point, it's just U.S. citizens in general. Come on, man. I think it was directed. I think it was New York. I don't remember. Who the hell remembers anymore? This guy. He's just. I can't keep track of who he's pissed off at next. He just can't get along with anybody. I actually would have some great ideas for China, Russia, to help North Korea not suck. Russia would be okay. China would be okay. There would be some parameters, but they'd be okay. I actually have some great ideas. I'm not going to give them to you, though. Can be done. They would like it too. It would be mutually beneficial. and would benefit them more. It wouldn't hurt us to benefit them more. It wouldn't be something that would hurt us to benefit them more. It would be something that they would benefit from more just simply because it would be more self-sustaining to them. So that's how the trade deal would work. So it would be more, much like we're supposed to be. So there feels like a more of a valid reason for trade instead of relying on it. Genius. It's not that hard, guys. It's not hard. It's really not that hard. Part of the problem is most people don't understand. Most people didn't understand what the president did for the longest time, I think. Now I think they kind of get it a little bit, like to a degree. It's like the whole point is the president really shouldn't be doing a lot of the stuff that this current guy is trying to meddle in. Like you should hire the people to do those jobs and trust them to run the government. You understand? You understand what I'm saying? The vice president actually does do a lot more than you think. Part of the reason it works that way, though, is because that's a good checks and balance system. You know, you have a vice president so that you know that those ideas are, and those final decisions are bounced off somebody. You know what I mean? Like, that's a good checks and balance system, I think. Again, trying to like be all weird and scammy about who's actually running things, like oh, come on. The current one, we know what's going on. But before that, yeah, like, it was a good checks and balance system because there would be disagreements. For sure. So obviously you can take a look at when the propaganda starts, the disagreements are greater, for sure. And then you can see that people are just creating. It's who's creating it. You know, it's like, who's sitting here trying to create the most, you know? Who looks like the biggest child in the room and not simply just admitting or taking the loss. Biden was actually a solid president. It's a shame that didn't happen. I mean, I mean, Harris would have been fine too. I'm just saying. A lot of people would have been fine. Bernie would be great. Bernie would be great. He wouldn't get much better than that. He'd be great. He wouldn't just be good, he'd be great. He would get stuff done. And at the end of the day, you could be like, oh, well, he didn't do all these things that he said he was going to do. Yeah, but look at what he did do. I want him to have an optimistic list of things that he tries to do. I maybe miss a few. That's how you get it done. Obama did the same thing. That's all anybody could ever say about him. Well, he didn't do this, like he said. How is that disproving him as what? You didn't discredit anything. You just picked a thing he said he was going to do that he couldn't do. I'm sorry, but that's not a negative. That's just not living up to the thing that he said he might be able to. Again, this shit is about Congress, okay, a lot of times. So don't sit here and try to say that. That guy especially got universal health care passed. So, no. You have to understand that again, it's very easy to tell what Obama did, what Biden did. You can look the stuff up very easily and stuff like that. There's only just a huge amount of, like, it's very easy to see. Like, there's just a huge amount of misdirection and lying about mainly one guy. When you look up the news reports and stuff from the times, from like way back, from the times that they happened and stuff like that, yeah, you'll see it. You'll see that they were just very affirmative, and all of a sudden, at a certain point, there's just all this random fake news that wasn't real stuff. And it just, I don't know, things started getting a little bit strange. And we know who did that. It came out of the sort of sense that, again, this guy is really bad at what he's doing. He's not going to do it to help you. He's going to sit here and he's going to do scam, cruddy things. So he's just going to lie. So, this is what you got to realize. That's all that happened. Again, peacefully protest. Be where you're supposed to. Again, try to get as close as you can without impeding what they're doing. If they move around or whatever, move around. Try to back up and give them space. Try to do that. Try to be reasonable. If you're reasonably far enough away and they're pushing you further back, that's when you start questioning what that person's doing right directly in front of you. Now, obviously, you want to pay attention to, obviously still record and do what you're doing to protect the person clearly being harmed. But the whole person is also focused on what the person's doing in front of you, too, because they are going to distract you, they are going to assault you, and again, I've seen it a million times now, where they will actually sit here and try to destroy property and smack the device down out of people's hands and stuff like that. And I mean, like that like that's just like there's like 2 or 3 laws there that they're like, I mean, it's just incredibly illegal. So, again, don't reasonably get within, like, obviously you're getting with arm reach of somebody. That's their personal space, and that's also the space in which they can move around in. So that's understandable. Be like 10-15 feet away. If you're filming and you're filming a police interaction, you're trying to get something, if there's a car in front of you blocking you and there's an obstruction, you're far enough away. You would have to go through that thing. That's fine. If there's nothing between you and the police, federal agents, whatever, doing what they're doing, please understand that 10 to 15 feet of space is a comfortable amount of space where if they feel like that person's going to run toward the crowd, they're not going to be confused about who it is or something like that. You got to understand the other side of that too. So give that to them so they can't use that and say that later. They can't use that against you. You have to do 100% what you're supposed to do, or they can use it. So, the snowballs, that has to stop. Because again, they can have chunks of ice, they can damage the vehicle. Stop doing it. Don't yell things about causing harm to officers or anything like that. Don't do that. Other than that, or the president, obviously, or actually just people in general. Don't yell things that would make it make them think that you want harm to come to other people. Don't do that. Just use that as a general, consensus that you can't do that. Anything else beyond that point, for the most part, other than obviously don't pretend like there's a fire or anything like that and yell that in a crowded space or anything. Obviously use common sense with some other stuff too. But for the most part, yeah, you can be about your free speech and shout a-hole, whatever you want at them. And again, the whole point is, if that officer is so triggered in their job, but they are responding to what you're doing instead of what they're supposed to be doing, they shouldn't be doing that job. They are affected by you. They are not serving you. They are not actually concerned about, man, that I feel bad that that person feels that way, and I'd like to improve that. They don't look at it like that. They don't care. They look at it like they're hateful and angry towards that person because they protect and serve every day and they risk their lives every day. That's how they're looking at it. Well, here's the problem. They get a huge blanket of protection. They get to do whatever they want. And that's the problem. The problem is police are allowed to lie, but you can't lie to police. There's a huge flaw in the system. Because now police can sit here and entrap somebody and just freaking lie and make shit up. But if you lie to a cop, you lied to a cop. That's a crime. That's a conflict of interest in the system. So, since that's kind of a loophole in the system, oh boy. So, that is a real problem, and they are taking advantage of that. They know that. They know they're taking advantage of that. That's the one thing that you need to realize, is that cops, that thing that they try to show you in a show, you're a cop, so you have to say it, right? No. Nope. No. If they pull you over for a traffic stop, they better fucking identify themselves as a cop, because they just pulled you over. Oh, yeah, you got sirens and shit pulling people over. Yeah, you better identify yourself as a cop. Yeah, that's a little bit different, okay? Yeah, the problem is these retards, they don't think about things long enough. They just watch a movie and they don't think about things long enough. No, again, yes, you got pulled over. Yeah, that guy's got a cruiser with some lights on it. He better identify himself as a cop. Otherwise, what? No. If somebody is being, like, detained, interrogated, questioned, that sort of thing, like investigative stuff, so pulled over, that sort of thing, yes, they must identify themselves as police officers. Yeah, they have to. Yep. Much like you have to provide identification. They should be wearing something so that it's obvious, you can see it visually. Much like you would then have to provide ID. Just to let you know, by the way, on a traffic stop, if you get pulled over, just to let you know, they actually can treat you like a criminal, pull you out of the car, and do all kinds of stuff if you don't identify yourself. So, to all those people that are sitting here not identifying themselves, actually, they don't have to do anything except treat you like a... They can do whatever they want at that point, because it's failure to identify for a traffic stop. So, I understand how it sounds, and they are misusing it, but I'm just letting you know, if you get pulled over, always, if you don't want to, you can tell them, I don't answer any questions. Here's my ID, proof of insurance, whatever you would normally give them. Now that you have identified yourself, now you have your rights. So that's what you have to understand about that. They have to be able to ID you. That's what they're using in every single last one of these. So the ones where they're pulling civilians and stuff like that, and people that are just recording them, nope. So that's what you gotta realize. None of this is on the level. None of it whatsoever. Absolutely none of it. Absolutely none of it. I've seen none of that. Do you know why? I'm gonna tell you. It's a very, very, very simply. Do you know why? If it was done legally on a level with real police work and investigation, you wouldn't know. Brilliant deduction, right? And there wouldn't be just like a shitload of it going on. Yes, I know. Brilliant deduction, isn't it? Yeah. It wouldn't just like look like a bunch of fucking federal agents randomly ransacking Minneapolis. Oh, that's right. That's right. Tim Walz is from Minnesota. Oh, that's right. That's right. Trump's just attacking. That's right. So, obviously, I agree. I agree with the right to the peaceful protests and being there where they can see it, because that's what you want. You want to be where they can see it. Otherwise, what's the point? It has to be seen. But what I think is more concerning is that mayors, governors, ethical police chiefs and stuff like that are all behind keeping them out and policing on their own. So if that's the case, and they're not asking for this, why is the President of the United States forcing it on the state? It's not legal. Can't really do that. Again, state government overrides that federal government. They are allowed to govern on their own. It's the point of having the states. It's the point. So that way it makes it easier to govern things. It's such a big country. Many diverse people, different ways of thinking. The whole way everybody gets along is by separately going to where they need to go to and happily being there with their ideals in that spot. And then not respecting that as all being united under the same cause for democracy, for rights, for freedoms of speech, for freedoms of having those differences. Because, again, remember, the current administration wants to take that away. He wants to make it all one. He wants to take over Canada. That's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. It's not. That's not okay. There's no difference between this asshole and Vladimir Putin randomly just deciding that he's gonna go to war with Ukraine. There's no difference. And when communism, dictatorship, or authoritarianism doesn't work again, and history repeats itself, and it happens here, and we have another revolution, and it's another few hundred years of war and people not getting along, for you to just wake up and do democracy all over again for the cycle to repeat itself. So how long is it going to last that time? 20 years? 10? I don't think we'll make it. I think we're going to destroy the planet if we do this again. I think we're supposed to graduate past this and evolve past the concepts of fighting over land. It is what it is. Yeah, I think we're supposed to move way past this shit. Yeah, there's an entire space of stuff out there that we could be laying claim to and colonizing, and we're all sitting here arguing amongst ourselves and not reaching for the stars. Because some guy that wants to look like a fucking clown is human trafficking people. Because that. That'll be what we have to answer for, what the human race has to answer for. The end of times, we know it's here. Everybody feels it's coming. And we'll have to answer for the fact that we allowed a fucking clown painting his face orange to take over, bankrupt everybody, lie about it, Pit everybody against each other. And again, we had real leadership. We had real togetherness. It looked like the first black man president that had the balls to stand on the street and march with a protest hand in hand. That took some fucking balls. And he did that. It doesn't take balls to have people tear gassed in a park so you can stand in front of a closed church. That doesn't take balls. No. It takes balls to walk hand in hand with crowds of people in the middle of the street. Being the first black president and marching for that cause. Oh, the balls on that man. That's what you do. Good for him. Good for him. That's what you should say. Why do you hate him? Because he brought people together? Because he was successful? The fuck? No. No, it's a different reason, and you know why. Because you're all bullies. And y'all look at him for what you look at him for instead of how you should. An intelligent president of the highest regard. You know, if there was a single president that I think should have been knighted, I think he should have had it. I know that doesn't normally, that's not what you would do. I think there was a single president that could handle that ethically. You know, his bias aside, I think it would have been him. So of course this is the guy that he's trying to ruin. Because he's everything that the clown isn't. The clown didn't work for it. The clown was paid to go to college. The clown was given everything. The clown didn't work for that. The clown has to put orange makeup on his face to look darker because he's white as shit. The clown is a fat, lazy-ass slob that doesn't work out and doesn't go to the gym. So he's become a fat, lazy-ass slob and he can't even stand up straight. The clown. I once heard a man that thinks he has a really high IQ say that Donald Trump used to speak in eloquent sentences and long speeches. When? When? What speech? When? When the fuck was this? Where was I? Because I've looked at some of those older ones that, oh, and they were pretty bad. They were awful. Obama, he always nailed those speeches. Obama was damn good. So just every turn, this guy's just a better individual. Just the measure of the man. And you can see it. That's the problem. It gets to him. Because Donald's measure of the man is bought. Obama earned it. First black man president. He earned that. Nobody else did that. Nobody. Guy's really smart. Ethical to have done that. He climbed that high as a black man in the United States. Holy shit. That's the real reason. To cause a racial problem. To get people to want to be racist again. To make America shit again. To make America racist again. Because they're already great. And he actually stopped Bin Laden. George W. didn't fucking do that. He said, we're going to make sure that we see an end to this. Randomly destroys Iraq for no reason whatsoever. Does not go after Bin Laden. Has plenty of time to do so. Obama actually stops Bin Laden. And everybody's like, well, what do you want, a fucking cookie? So wait a minute, you forgot? Wait, what about we will never forget? This guy caused 9/11. Obama actually stopped the guy that caused 9/11, that flew the plane into the towers. Obama stopped the guy, he got the guy, Obama, Barack Hussein Obama, got the guy who flew the planes into the towers. What the fuck is wrong with you? You don't applaud that. That was what stopping crime looked like. That was getting a terrorist. That's what it looks like. Covertly, swiftly. Gets it done. Doesn't look like announcing it. Fucking up people's lives. No, you just get that shit done. And then he whine like Trump does in some tweet when people didn't give him credit for it. Nobody cared. Fox was flat out like, oh, look at him acting like he did anything. You know, they're nobody gave a shit. What the hell? Again, we will never forget. George W. stood there on the rubble, on the fucking pile of rubble, with the megaphone saying, this guy, I promise you, we will never forget. Our voices will be heard. All that shit. And then he randomly destroys Iraq for no reason whatsoever, giving us a deficit. In the process, lying about why we're there. Again, what we believe they have WMDs. We go forward to defend freedom and all that is good and just in our world. Again, they didn't have them. And again, Bin Laden, Al-Qaeda. What the fuck? What the hell does Iraq have to do with anything? He caused all that. Meanwhile, he caused all that. Meanwhile, probably should have just gone after Iran, right? Yeah. Meanwhile, yeah, the guy literally, like, the Bush, the Bush before him was trying to improve So stupid. Anyway, the whole the whole point is none of it meant anything. You all forgot. People forgot. We will never forget. But Obama got the guy that flew the fucking planes into the Twin Towers. Obama got that guy. Obama. Bush could have, didn't. Destroyed Iraq randomly for no reason. Again, Obama got bin Laden. Sounds like Obama solved all our fucking problems. Sounds like he single-handedly came into office and actually made America great. It sounds like Donald Orange face clown dickhead piece of shit Trump came in office trying to take a legacy from Obama. This is exactly what it sounded like. Exactly what it sounded like to me. It's exactly just coming and trying to take that legacy. Yeah, what a racist piece of shit, isn't he? So, Obama increased our nuclear arsenal too, just to let you know. It wasn't Trump. Like, it's just like all these things Trump tried to take credit for that Obama actually did. So, you want to know how I feel about the ICE situation? It's illegal. And if Obama were doing it, the other side would be like, ugh! So why the fuck are you doing it? It's that simple. It's that simple. It's that simple. You know it. Stop being in denial. You're all a bunch of racist piece of shits that hate Obama. The amount of times I heard some stupid thing about the Jews recently, too. Like, what? Why are we just talking about groups of people? Like, any group of people is a certain way or a certain way. Why are we doing this? Why? Like, I know Jews are really good at math, like, obviously, but other than that, why are we doing this? Like, that's a positive. Like, that's not... Nobody cares if you joke. Like, that's funny because it's like, nobody cares about that. That's why that's funny. You can joke about that. That's a positive. So what? Oh, wow. Oh, man. They're real offended by being really good at math. Let me tell you what. That's offensive to them. No, they don't care. And they shouldn't. Like, that's the point. Like, nobody should care if you're, like, it's a positive. So, like, no. All Trump had to do was when Jimmy Kimmel said his thing about the goldfish thing. All Trump had to do was be like, well, at least I didn't get famous making the same joke every night for the past 10 years of my life or whatever. Like, it's all he had to do. That's all he had to do. He had to sit there and just take it and make fun of him back. And everybody like, oh, you see what a good sport he is. Oh, man, he takes it on the chin and he just gives it right back. But no, this guy acts like the biggest fucking 12-year-old. Oh, right, it's 5-year-old, right? Mourns a goldfish like a 7-year-old. I don't remember exactly what it. But he like that was the whole point. Remember, he literally reacted exactly the way that he told. It's like, God. Oh God, it's true. It's not just funny, it's true. Jesus. Please help us. So, I don't know. I just the amount of times that he's sat here and proved to you, hands down, who he is, and you're you're just in denial. I like you don't need any more proof than that. It's people that are unwilling to. It's like the groups. It's the people that, like, you know, the people they're friends with are gonna, like, target them and harm them if they suddenly come out as being against Trump or something like that. Like, I think they feel trapped. I think some of these voters and these groups feel kind of trapped, the way it would feel in a cult. That's exactly the way it would feel. You would feel trapped. So I want to put that out there too. That's possibly happening. Probably definitely happening. I personally think that people need to get over modern sorts of things like memes, speech in general that have that cause them to react. And I think that this needs to be just a generalization everybody needs to agree on. That if somebody says something online, somebody is just exercising free speech or something like that, you don't have like it's bad and toxic and like just considered generally bad to have some sort of a reaction to this that isn't just to either laugh at it or shrug it off as not your problem. You know what I'm saying? Like where you can't like watch somebody and see it happen without having some sort of emotional triggered response. And again, it shouldn't happen at all. Because again, what the person is doing on that stream, on that movie, on that whatever, it doesn't have any effect on you. Unless it's the president. Or, you know, the police organizations and the politics saying things. So again, they need to be responsible what they say and the information they put out. You, and as a citizen, generally speaking, and you know, them too when they're just citizens, can exercise simple caution when watching anything and knowing that, you know, obviously somebody, it's just their opinion or whatever they think or whatever, and you know, it's up to your interpretation to again, remember that you aren't receiving this information logically if you are emotionally charged. So first of all, rationalize that. That is anything. It has nothing to do with anything except logic there. If you having as some type of response to this that is any bit emotionally charged or triggered, that's not a logical response, and almost anybody should agree with that to a degree of being logical and rational as far as, like, you know, answering stuff is concerned, because again, you got to be able to be rational about that stuff. So again, if somebody in real life, even in real life, beeps at you, yells something out the window or something. I remember a time when people would just let this go and just think, oh, big deal. Yeah, and now you got to worry about, you know, like road rage and stuff like that. Well, because the person's anxiety of the person that's doing that is because, you know, like they're worried about embarrassment online or something. They did something they know that they shouldn't have done or something like that. So it's just, honestly, it has a lot to do with the fact that that person feels a type of way of how they have been acting, and again, they're not willing to face this, so they're sort of kind of like, you know, meeting it head on, but, excuse me, then not actually rising to the challenge and overcoming it. It's just getting worse, as they would have this instance or this instance or this instance with people that would challenge that and can deal with it better than they can. So then they just become more emotionally charged each time it happens, and then the other person just doesn't care. So, if the whole point is, like, you know, like, and talking about, like, we've talked about free speech auditors and stuff like that. I don't necessarily condone doing that, but if you are, like, that's the point. The concept is that they're not really doing anything wrong. They are trying very hard to make sure they look that stuff up in the ordinances where they are and making sure that they're following those laws and stuff like that. So that way, the whole point is that as they would do that and film that, the police are so triggered, they don't actually know. They just want to cause a problem for that person because... Right, exactly. The point is why? Because why? So the whole point is, if that cop actually knew the law and actually knew the ordinances and stuff like that, why would they care if somebody's being about themselves? And they would look at it, think about it for a second, and be like, are they really doing anything wrong? They're filming the cars. What does the sign say? Does it say authorized? Yeah, it says authorized vehicles. They're on foot. There's no fence. Whatever. That should be the logic, for the most part. And I just think it's a charged, emotional, illogical response, where the thought is implanted in those officers to have that emotional response, to think, what is that person doing? They're up to no good. They're loitering. They're up to no good. No. Loitering, the concept of loitering is, you don't want the same, like you don't want the same person taking advantage of that business that shouldn't be there and just hanging around there, maybe selling stuff they shouldn't be or something like that, and they're loitering around the area. But the whole point is, if you don't have that loitering law, yeah, that person can just be there. They're just there. The business is open. Why can't they be there? So the whole point is that you need that loitering law, where somebody's just standing idle for X amount of time. You kind of want, the businesses, and that's the concept, is they want to be able to enforce, just not having a bunch of people standing around doing stuff they shouldn't be doing. So the concept of loitering is obviously that, based on, just trying to kind of police that concept. So we have these concepts, and we know that we can use these things. my point is that obviously you guys know my point. My point is, like, we've done it this way before. You you guys obviously know my point. My point is that these they're not they're not loitering in front of a business. They're filling police cars. They're at a police station. They're not selling illegal whatever. They're filming police cars. So what? You know, if the thought is that they're doing something wrong, what's the wrong that they're doing? You know, if they're supposedly loitering, okay, filming police car, big deal. Like, I want to hear the court argument. Like, I want to hear it. I want to hear the cops go in there. Like, it would just be so funny. That's why it's always dismissed. I want to hear the cop go in and go, well, damn it, this guy, he had his camera, and he was filming our police cars. Okay. Well, was he on private property, or was he just, you know, out back behind the, you know, where the lot is? You just, like, walk in there from the park or whatever. Well, he was out in the lot. Oh. Do you have a sign that says no trespassing? No. But we don't need that. Yes, you do. He can walk up and record police activity. He has a right to be there, unless, again, you want him trespassed for something, but again, he has to have done the something. You're going to trespass him for recording the police car? I might disagree with you on that. So what are you trespassing him? Like, I want to hear the argument. I want to hear the cops sit there and just, well, he's recording the car. Okay. And well, you know what I mean? Like, it's just so absurd. Like, I want to hear that. I want to, and my point is, like, that's how it should go. It should go like that, because, again, that's the parameter. Those are the parameters for the most part. Obviously, different areas, different ordinances, local areas. You're gonna have different ordinances. You will, okay? Some, again, if you're not supposed to be in there, they're gonna have a huge fence with barbed wire. You won't be able to enter. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? You're gonna try to sit here and tell me that the government's not gonna pay for to keep people out if they're not supposed to be in there? Oh, give me a break. If people aren't supposed to be in there, they're gonna pay for a fence and barbed wire. The fact that the cops don't realize that and they're doing those jobs, I just... They need more education. They need more education on what they're doing. I'm sorry, it's just true. I'm not trying to be rude about that, but that's what you should recognize, that these folks that know more about the law simply through kind of like online research just kind of show up and do these things. And it's pretty bad, because it's really basic stuff. It's stuff that you can just kind of figure out. And that's what's so great about it. That's why you don't want the Bill of Rights to go away, democracy to go away, laws to go away. Nothing, nowhere else is like the U.S. Even the democracies that have tried to mock and model after us, they've made some mistakes too, like we have. Nothing is quite like the U.S. with the way we can do things. And you don't want to lose that. Because if you lose that, you lose all the ability that you've had this whole time to, you know, have the right to say whatever you want on spam chats with your Trump 2028, regardless of how I feel about it. Okay? You wouldn't be able to do things like that. I mean, obviously, if he's in charge, sure. But the whole point is, let's say he's not. He's not. He's getting up there in age. Okay? You don't want this. You don't want this. You don't want it. You don't want it. You want democracy. You want checks and balances. You don't want one guy. Because remember, at the end of the day, just like Kim Jong-un, they'll eventually get you to truthfully believe that guy doesn't defecate. He is pristine. He is godly. He doesn't even defecate. Like, I mean, just the whole point is you don't want that. Don't get to a point where hate is embedded in our education. Don't get to that point. Because it's already being embedded in our culture and our society. We're already being pitted against each other. People are being canceled that spread positive, good messages. I want to remind you that no other president, again, even Republicans, none of them would support what's happening. None of them do. None of them like this guy. They don't. They do not. And none of the past presidents like this guy. None of them. They don't like him. No, all of them have kind of gotten along and gotten over their differences. And yet none of them like this guy or can get along with this guy. Absolutely none of them. Y'all had a really, really good example of what leadership was with Obama and Biden. A really good example. Both of them. You know, I mean, it doesn't matter how old somebody appears to be or looks or something like that. What matters is, did they hire the people doing those jobs in that administration to get those tasks done or do what the ultimate goal was? And again, was it an ethically sound administration? And yes, for sure, absolutely. I mean, even coming off his presidency, you had Trump trying to take credit for the peace treaty. Yeah. The whole thing that Biden organized, Biden administration, and then you had Trump seemingly trying to take credit for it because he was coming into office right as that was being instituted. No, it was Biden's peace treaty. It wasn't Trump's. So again, regardless of his ability to, I mean, like, he's an old guy, you know, so, like, motor function and stuff like that sometimes, you know, just like Trump is sitting there falling asleep, he looks like a damn joke, too. Okay, so why are you poking fun at that? When I can just simply do it back to Trump. Why? Why pick those stupid things? It's unfounded. It's like just, it's not credible. Now, if anything, the things that are credible is now when Trump's sitting here bragging about taking cognitive tests over and over. I took this many cognitive tests. That's a pretty stupid thing to brag about. It makes you look dumb. Why are people having you take cognitive tests and bragging about them? What a retard. So, again, say what you want about how old Biden looked. It doesn't matter how old he looked. What mattered was, the whole point is that his administration didn't have that energy, didn't resemble that energy. It resembled plenty of energy. And he got a lot done. And Harris was part of that. I mean, she was the vice president, for Christ's sake. So just acting like she wasn't poised to be the perfect candidate. Again, just like Hillary was, where she was also doing a job in government for X amount of time. She was poised to be the perfect candidate. And there was all this hate propaganda thrown at her. And most of it was behind the fact she was a woman. So that wasn't working, and that wasn't working. So then they created the whole email bullshit. And just blew that up because people are just fucking stupid. They don't know what they're talking about. They have no idea anything about how that stuff works. So they just, it sounded bad, so they just ran with it. No clue how any of that works. They don't understand it. They just, well, okay. They just believed that. So anyway, the whole point is, these guys have been really successful. These Democrats have been really successful and done really successful, good things to benefit you. Over the decades they've ran for office. What the fuck have the Republicans ever done? Except sit here and institute a tax plan that raises your taxes. Oh, and by the way, the big, beautiful bill that cut health care and caused all this excessive federal spending for just no reason. Huge amounts of spending, which is going to literally add to the deficit even more. Remember, this is the same guy that made his entire business off of casinos taking advantage of people and went bankrupt like 6-7 times in that business, the business of taking advantage of people's impulses and addiction, and all seemingly going bankrupt 6-7 times too. Wow. And this is the guy. That guy. Please put it together and add it up. He's messing with the media. He's confusing you. It ain't the Democrat. Which would you believe? One guy doing it, or a collective group of people all doing these different things to lie to you? Which sounds more believable? Which is happening and is more believable? Duh. The one guy that's been doing it. The one guy that's, his name is synonymous with trumping people. It's literally, his name is synonymous with that. It's literally like a saying is the point. And you don't recognize the again, it was funny and okay when he was just doing it. It didn't involve you and the American people. and we just accepted the all right, billionaires take advantage of people. But now again, the whole point is when they're running the country, okay, that's a little different. That does affect you, because now he's just going to do it with the country. That's what Republicans have been doing since forever. Tax breaks to billionaires, helping them out so that they scratch their back. Why the hell do you think the Democrats don't do that and try not to do that? Because they know that that's the problem. Now some of them, let's be honest, once in a while they do, but lately they've been wising up and just literally trying to stick to trying to give you exactly what you want and ask for, because that's what a successful politician should do. They're your representative. They should try to do the things that you want and expect of them. So why wouldn't they? And again, I could sit here and go on for hours and hours about all the stuff Obama did. Stuff, frankly, Trump. Remember the hours we'd spend on stream going over all the stuff Obama did, and actually stuff Trump tried to actually take credit for. It took us like hours to get through this list of things that all these things Obama did, that Trump actually tried to take credit for. Like again, Trump could sit here and actually do something. But instead, he just spends all his time either trying to get rid of stuff Obama did, and if you can't get rid of it, he takes credit for it. And then you don't see the propaganda BS, the same thing where ICE shoots a woman in the face, and they go, oh, she was trying to run him over, even though all you have to do is watch the video and see that the ICE agent had his arms in the car. She was driving away from him, other direction, turning the wheel away, and he was in the car. He could have let go at any time. No, just gun, shoot, bang, bang, bang. And by the way, 3 shots. 3. Not 1. I don't know where these faggot federal agents went to school, but I don't count 3 as 1. I count 3 as 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Not once. 3. Yes, it was very aggressive. You could tell from the look on his face. It was aggression. He was doing this with his body. He was jerking his body around. Didn't pull himself away on purpose. And when he knew she was going to drive away, the moment he knew that he was not getting her, bang, bang, bang. I mean, you just look at the video yourself and see it for yourself. It's that basic. He's just standing on the driver's side, reaching in her window. For whatever God knows what reason, other agents surrounding the vehicle. She can't go any other way, so she turns away to drive away from him and up the street. Again, he's reaching in the window, and he's doing this. Can't see what he's doing, but he's very clearly trying to jerk the wheel. He's very clearly trying to... Yeah, he was trying to make it look like she was trying to hit him. I get what he was actually trying to make it look that way so he could shoot her. Never did I see such an obvious crime in my entire life. He was aggressively reaching in there. And then, yeah, the moment that he decided that, oh, that's probably enough, he just shot her 3 times. He's a murderer. It's as simple as that. He's a fucking piece of shit murderer. I mean, it's literally that simple. That's what I saw. I saw a murderer masquerading as a federal agent. And that's the kind of people Trump employs. That's what you gotta realize. It's that faggot employing these people. These aren't normally how cops are. These are criminals. Being employed by your orange makeup wearing clown. They can't even stand up straight. Remember, he can't even stand up straight. Oh boy. Well, you wanted to know how I felt about the ICE situation? I've told you. I don't think I need to rant and rave anymore. Again, all that needs to happen is this dictator that's dictating his cult, his Nazi agenda, needs to call them off. Just like on January 6th, where he didn't call them off. It's the same thing. It's no different. Except now they're the ones with badges and guns. Yeah, that's the reality. So, yeah, that guy, again, they're just criminals committing crimes. The real police use the same logic consensus that I've given you, where if they're so triggered by what somebody is saying, again, they shouldn't be doing that job. Again, people can shout at them from a distance. They shouldn't react, respond, or otherwise engage, because then they'll rile that up. So if you're constantly riling up the peaceful protest, you are doing that. You are causing discourse for that peaceful protest, and you're doing it on purpose, for the intent to make everybody see them as unpeaceful. That's called terrorism. So I do think that these federal agents are active terrorists committing acts of terror against our government, against citizens. And I do think 100% the NSA is behind it, the FBI is behind it, and Donald Trump is behind it. 100%. I do believe that. I think the CIA actually cares too much about our national security to do something like that. I think they're pissed about this. I think the NSA constantly spies on civilians and harms them. So they don't care. This is the problem. And this would have been dealt with internally by an ethical president. But your current one is not dealing with it. So that's my honest take on a lot of the stuff, and again, the ICE situation. Obviously, don't attack or cause harm to anybody, federal agent or not. Period. So when constantly the federal agents themselves are causing more harm, assaulting, kidnapping, destruction of property, things like that, than the protesters, than the people that they are claiming are harming them, we see what's happening. There are intelligent, smart ways of dealing with these things. And attacks are always going to happen. We see these pictures of officers, one-off pictures of like federal officers like being injured and stuff. All we see is a picture. We don't know how that happened. And it's very subjective. We don't know how that happened. You know, just like they're framing this thing that happened with the woman who was shot. And then you watch the video and it's like, wow. Dude shot her. Yeah, I didn't know what to think at first either. And then I saw the video. I was like, what the hell? So I think that's what's happening. I think, honestly, truthfully, some politicians, police, and stuff like that they know aren't paying attention. They're trying to get not to pay attention and not to get these things. They're trying to make them busy, bury them in work or whatever, and not get them to see it so that they don't know. And then lie on it, on documentation, on this, on that, on the other thing. And they will. Just like I said in the beginning, how we saw an example of that police chief having never seen that video until 60 Minutes showed it to him. It's like, oh, are you kidding me? He didn't even know. It's crazy. See, that's what's scary, because he's probably trying to stay informed too. He probably wants to know about that. And as soon as he saw that, he was probably really upset. Because he probably heard about it and took the wrong side, not seeing the video. That's probably what happened. He probably immediately felt that. That's what you got to realize about the ethical person versus somebody else. And I can tell it's a genuine response. Genuine. He genuinely, it was very obvious he hadn't seen the video. It was a genuine response. And he was not happy. But again, it wasn't on his officers. He was seeing a video of federal agents didn't want out there, where they had, again, barricaded a random woman in the middle of the street with their bodies and a car in front of her, and gave her confusing instructions while she was on her way to, again, apparently some sort of emergency brain thing or something like that, and she's disabled. And they broke her window, ripped her out of her car. Like, all of that just incredibly illegal stuff happened. Attacks on a civilian, and without probable cause. They didn't have the lawful, legal authority to have even been there. That's what probable cause means. They did not have the legal authority to even have been there. That's what I mean by probable cause. The cop pulls you over or something, and they know they didn't really have probable cause to pull you over. They're looking around your car. They're trying to find other things. That's why you get very affirmative with them. You get to the bottom of that. They either pulled you over for a reason or they didn't. Why are they looking for other things? They know the reason they pulled you over is not too sound. Yeah, something fishy. So they shouldn't be looking for other things. They should just either give you or not give you a ticket. Stop with the fucking bullshit. This is the problem. Problem is you're sitting here with the bullshit. It's literally just, this guy wants to be a pain, so I'm gonna be a pain. No, it's not your job. Do you say the same thing to a clerk at a store? If they're being a pain to you? You know, like essentially, would you expect them to be a pain to you just because you're being a pain to them? No, you'd expect them to be polite, courteous, and respectful, right? So don't you expect the same thing, especially out of somebody with a gun, and trust with that, and trusted with that responsibility? Oh, fuck yeah. And this guy gets to speed all day long. It's part of his job to speed down the road and be responsible with with speeding and trusted to just speed all the time, and he can just illegally drive as fast as he wants, and he's trusted to do that. And we trust him with this huge vehicle that could just ram into anybody, and he's just speeding around all the time. We just trust him with this badge and this gun and this huge thing that can run somebody off the road. No. The whole point is you're trusting them with a lot. They should feel the same. They should feel the same. They should feel the same. The whole point is that they have a brotherhood camaraderie amongst them. So this eliminates that whole concept of them snitching on each other. That's why they do that. You're supposed to recognize that it shouldn't be that way. You should keep each other in check. You should be able to do that. And that's the whole purpose behind partners and having like the pairs and stuff like that in the first place, to keep each other in check, make sure the other one's not doing something they're not supposed to be doing. Not both of them ganging up and teaching more to do this. If it was your family member, your significant other, your person that you cared about, that they were doing this to, you would do everything that those officers that feel so obliged to do this, they would do everything they could to show up at that station, show up at that place where they took and detained that person, and do everything they could to get them out of it. So why wouldn't they expect the same out of the people they care about and respect? Suddenly they don't want this. Suddenly, when it's somebody they care about, suddenly they want it to be done through legal means. Suddenly it's yeah. So that's what you have to understand is it's just a justification to denial. They know flat out they're not legally doing this. They know. They know it, they know it, they know it. They know it. Police know that. If they don't know that, they shouldn't be police. They take an oath to know certain things about the law. One of the things they should know is proper deportation standards. They need to know that. They cannot just sit here and kidnap somebody. If somebody's in a sanctuary city, they are allotted to be in that sanctuary city, and in fact, under that protection of that city, they are literally allowed to be there. They must pay taxes and sort of kind of go through that system to become a citizen, but the idea is they're under that scrutiny, that heavy scrutiny. They do these English classes, they do all these things, they learn history, they become that citizen even more so than the American does, because the American doesn't have to go through that. And these are the people under this heavy scrutiny that pay their taxes, they have jobs. These are the people that are again, they're actually going through the legal system, and it's being painted as oh no, we're just getting illegals and stuff. No, they're not illegals. They are technically not citizens, so that's why nobody's saying that. But they are legally allowed to be here. Yes, they are migrants. They are trying to migrate. They are immigrating to the U.S. There is a migration process they must go through. These are the people, this asshole, this orange clown fucking douchebag is telling all these federal agents to just find and kidnap, that are already going through hell to try to prove that they're worth being here, and he's doing that. So basically trying to make them not want to be here. Give them a reason to hate this country. Yes. Some of these people some of these people might even go through military service specifically to gain that citizenship and stuff like that. And then meanwhile they defend the country and shit like that, and you're gonna do the same thing to them, and that's how you pay respect to them. Some of them are service members, and they're being treated this way. They're citizens, they're service members. And just because they went through the process at one point, they know that, so therefore that's where they're getting that information. So they're just like it's this bad. So don't let the propaganda confuse you. None of this is legal. They come here across the border because, yes, we have open borders. That's what you want with trade and stuff like that through the migration process. Then they usually go to a state, wherever that state and the migration process they want to go through, again, they go through it, they go through that process, they get put in the system, and it's tracked, regulated, so that way, yes, they can track it, they can pay attention to it. Oh, wow, and now you suddenly know how they're getting them. So these people that are actually going through the process, and they even have the paperwork to do it, which literally prove that they're going through the process, and they're ignoring that to paint the picture to you, to lie to you. They know this. The feds know this. They would see it in front of them. They literally just see that their citizens are not. And then just, essentially causing all this media shit and all these problems just for the sake of making it look bad. They're just detaining a bunch of people for a while, trying to get them illegally shipped out if they can. But most of the time, they're just illegally detaining them for a while, assaulting them, maybe even killing them, things like that. And that's a good mass majority of what they're doing. To try to just make things look really bad in this country, make it look like, especially to other countries, like we're just, there's all this terror and chaos, and he needs to invoke the Insurrection Act and stuff like that to maintain presidency. Like, he's just sitting here trying to make it look this way. Now you understand why when I drive around I have all these problems with the, like the whole point is they want everybody to think that the whole country's like this. That's what Minneapolis looks like. That's Minneapolis. It's one spot. Yeah. He sent ICE to one city in this one spot to cause all these fucking problems. Just like what's going on over in California in that one spot over there too. Like, literally that's all he's doing, and then like the media does what they do. That's it. That's it. That's what's happening. And so, when I calmly drive around, then it's just not, there's just endless roads of nobody standing around, no tanks rolling down the street and stuff like that. He can't sell this idea that, people are revolting and everybody's just at civil war and stuff like that, because it's not happening. The whole point is that we're fighting back against him, not each other. He's just trying to paint it that way so that he can sit here and try to use that Insurrection Act and take over. That's what he's going to try to do. So you guys know how I feel now. You know how I feel. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream there. You know how I feel. I said how I felt. I'm going to end the stream there. I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you very much. I just wanted to give you my opinion on things and state how I feel, but I feel like it's a pretty logical, fair place to be. I feel like I have a pretty sound, logical conclusion on this matter. Anyway, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.